And you? You feel good? You had a hell of a start. Huh? That's cool. It would be fantastic. You know, there's never been a back-to-back, huh? Here, if I may say. Huh? Here, I'm talking. Here, no. Yeah, parce que Hélène, Annika, several, but never a back-to-back. But and then it was not a major. Yeah, before 2013. So honestly, I would love to see you on the 18th. But if you do that, so we have to do something special. I don't know what.
Yeah, I know. It'll be something new.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, awesome.
And aside from that, then after you stay a little bit in Europe or you bring back?
No, I'm going to Scottish and British.
Direct.
Yes, I'm going to Edinburgh, but
Okay.
it's a little bit of a drive, like
Yeah.
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
But direct.
Okay.
Ready when you are?
Yes.
You ready?
Franck, t'es prêt? T'as fini ton petit journal?
You're ready? Or if you're ready, you're ready.
All right, I believe we are back here for our final press conference, pre-championship press conference at the 2022 Amundi Evian Championship. Again, thank you very much for being here. We are joined by our wonderful hosts for the week, Franck Ribou and Jacques Bungère, as well as Alain Barry on the end, Communications Director with our title sponsor, Amundi. And we also have the Women of the Hour in the middle, Rolex Rankings number 2, Minjee Lee. Minjee is our defending champion who is making her 8th appearance here at the Amundi Evian Championship. Minjee, a year ago, right out here, you took what was then the biggest win of your career. How much of a breakthrough moment was that when you won here last year?
I mean, it was my first major win, and there was quite a lot of pressure put on me to win a major after so many years on tour, and it was just a great confidence boost for me after that win, and I was able to have a good year last year and then bring it into this year. So yeah, hopefully good week this week.
Can you reflect on just how incredibly well you played this week last year? You had 4 rounds in the 60s, that amazing final round comeback, the playoff win. How did your game come together for this great moment here at Evian?
I feel like leading into the Evian last year, I wasn't really in the greatest of forms. I had a really fun week with Yuka at Dow the week before, and I was just kind of I had a really good mindset coming into the week, and it was just really chill, and I just kind of lowered my expectations and just try to relax and play, and I think it paid off. So yeah.
It absolutely paid off.
Paid off quite well.
Yes, it was good.
You mentioned not the best form coming in, but since then, you've had 13 top 20 finishes. You won your 2nd major title in June at the U.S. Women's Open, number 2 in the Rolex Women's World Golf Rankings. Is it safe to say this is some of the best golf you've ever played in your career?
Definitely. I feel like I'm, in a really good place with my game, and mentally I'm in a good place as well. So I feel like everything's kind of coming together really well, and I've really worked hard for all of this, so I'm going to keep working hard, and hopefully it keeps paying off.
Absolutely. If you have any questions in the room, please raise your hand. We'll bring a microphone to you, and a reminder to our friends on Zoom, we unfortunately can't hear your questions, but if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Minjee, I'll go back to you. You finished your pre-tournament preparations now. Pro-Am's over. Several days now to see the course. How does it look, and how does it match up to what you remember from last year?
It's a little bit more wet this year. I think maybe obviously with the rain this morning, and I feel like a lot of water has been put into the golf course, even the first 2 days when I was practicing. So, I mean, I'm not sure if it'll dry out quite yet for the first couple rounds, but hopefully by the weekend it's a little dry and a little faster.
Absolutely. Do we have any questions out there for Minjee? Nothing quite yet. Minjee, I do have one on the Zoom here from Steve Eubanks back home in the States.
Yep.
He says, is it fair to say that Sunday of this event last year moved you in your game to another level, and how did your mindset and attitude about yourself change after this win?
I don't think the round itself really changed my game or anything. I think maybe the confidence part, but I feel like I've been working on all aspects of my game for my entire life to bring me to that position. So, you know, I don't think necessarily that moment, but all the hard work that I put into it. And, you know, I think it really shaped sort of, you know, my attitude and sort of my mindset going into the other events. So it definitely helped me in that aspect.
And this is just a great moment for Australian golf as well, with Cam winning up to number 2 in the world, so many strong Australian players. And you were really at the front of this charge a year ago. What is your thoughts right now on the state of Australian golf as you're kind of taking over the golf world right now?
I mean, pretty damn cool that Cam won the British Open. You know, I was watching the coverage from France, so that was really cool to see. And I know that he's put in heaps of hard work, and like none of us. I mean, all the rewards come with all the hard work that you put into the game. So I feel like golf is a really honest game in that aspect. So yeah, no, it's really cool to see where Aussie golf is at the moment.
Absolutely. Franck, Jacques, I'll turn things over to either of you. With Minjee sitting here, just what are your thoughts on what she was able to accomplish last year and to add her name to the trophy here at Evian?
Well, it speaks for itself.
It's a high-quality winner.
Yes, absolutely. Looking at what she did and performed afterwards, and I like to hear that there's a tremendous amount of work, because sometimes people forget about it. And behind such a performance in any sports, but in golf, obviously, there is work, and mental work as well as work, so to speak. Yeah. For us, obviously, and I think Frank would agree, it's always great to see that Evian may be a trigger for some champions. Like the first win is always something great, and quite often we've seen the fact that it was a step one into great seasons succeeding. So for us, it's fantastic, and she's a fantastic champion. Actually, we've put her on every communication, every posters. It's not by chance. So you know, we're so proud of her. So thank you.
Which is a tradition.
Absolutely.
It's kind of cool. I mean,
What
every
is-
restaurant I walk into.
See, what is it like when you write it?
Just to complete what Jacques said, when you have a tournament, all of us, you know what a golf tournament is, but to have a very special winner with a very special score, with a very special 4 days, it's very important for the image of the tournament. It's true that having the best player of the world, you are not afraid by having somebody coming from nowhere, nobody knows. But to have the quality of the victory you delivered last year is something very important for a tournament like yours. And we expect to get the same. Perhaps somebody else, but we want the same quality. I hope you will be there.
Minjee, it's got to be kind of surreal to drive into town and see your face everywhere.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Actually, just when I got out of the airport, it was like my big ass poster right there, and I was like, "That's me."
That's cool.
Yeah.
Even on that question, it's a business. So the only thing we can offer to the winner is to help to develop the awareness of this winner. You know,
Exposure.
Yeah.
You were on the
I know a
Champs-Élysées.
company which is selling watch, one of our big sponsors. You will never see the brand here. Never. But if you win and being part of the family, they will spread your image all over the world, which is the thing which is the most important for you, even to negotiate some other contract over the world. So that's the way it works.
And that's part of the identity of the tournament, just to finish on this, but we communicate all over the world on this, and Minjee was in a lot of international capital, and she was on the 14th of July on the Champs-Élysées as well, so, you know.
You can go to the Champs-Élysées, everybody knows you now.
Oh, everybody knows me.
I know better place.
Minjee, we do have another question for you from the Zoom. You took a break between KPMG and now, so coming in fresh. But how do you keep your game in major competition shape? Last time you teed it up was in a major. You're back in a major. How are you ready?
Yeah, I had 3 weeks off, but it was so hot in Dallas. The 2 weeks that I practiced, I've just sweated it out heaps. So, no, it was really good. I was in a really good routine for the 2 weeks and just worked hard on my game and the things that I sort of wanted to get better at. So, yeah, I feel like I'm in a good place.
Do you mind telling us what you want to get better at? Because if you need to get better, you're already playing really well right now.
For me, it's obviously my putting and a bit of my wedge game is sort of where I've been putting my focus at.
Do we have anything further for Minjee? Nothing in the room? Well, I think if that's the case, I would probably turn things over to Franck and Jacques. And Minjee, if you're welcome to join us, you can stay away if you'd like. We also have some questions for Alain. But if you would like to sit here and join us, you absolutely may.
I think you have some stuff to do, huh? Maybe.
Okay, yeah, I'll
We'll let you step away.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Minjee. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a good
On n'entend pas bien?
De toute façon, ils dorment.
C'est embêtant. Je vais aller réveiller.
Well, thank you very much, Minjee. We always appreciate your time. But now we're happy to be here with Jacques and Franck and Alain. And gentlemen, I'll turn it over to you. As always, thank you so much for your support, your hospitality this week. We were really excited to announce in May the increased purse for this championship, growing to $6.5 million. For either Franck or Jacques, whichever one of you prefers to answer, why was it important for you to make that statement in support of these amazing athletes?
Why it's important? It's important because you have to remember what we explained when we start 27 years ago now. And that was not me at this time who was explaining that, but my father, Antoine Ribou, saying we trust in ladies golf, and our job is to make them very happy, making their job and making money. And if you remember, well, we start with a prize money of something around 1 million French francs, which was 300 euros, 1,000 euros. So the game, because very often people think that there is a competition between the big tournament and the other, and the only thing is the prize money. Not for us. For us, it's we just trust in what we explained at the beginning, which is we have to organize this tournament being sure that the ladies, the proet, will get enough money to make their job, having fun, being in a family ambience with a lot of attention. I don't know if we say that in English. Taking care of them. And by the way, having a good reward. So it's not a question of equality, it's a question of respect of what they are doing. But I know that it's very fashion now to speak about that, but again, we start 27 years ago. So we are perhaps the only feminist tournament, even if we are, Jacques and myself, men. But that was the idea from the beginning. That was really the idea. And I can illustrate that because being French and being European, it's obvious that now more and more players are coming from the LPGA, less from the LET, for example, because it's quite difficult for some of the average good quality player in the LET to be qualified to the Evian Championship, because it's a master. And that's the reason why we asked to Jabra to start another tournament with us, just an offering a spot to enter the Evian Championship, but also to, again, respect what we said at the beginning. We are there to help this lady to develop themselves by doing their sport and finding the way to live with the money. Because you can, whatever you think, there are tournaments, these ladies are losing money every time they play. It's simple as that. Because when you have to go to which I'm not going to say the name of the country, but you see what I mean, on the other side of the earth, and you finish top 10, and you make, I don't know, 50,000 euros, 50,000, you lose money. You lose money. So our idea, and thanks to Amundi, because they start to help us by having an Amundi tournament in Germany now, because you have two ways to make money when you are a golf pro. Or you make more money on the top, or you spend less money. You call that a P&L, okay? But if you send somebody to play a tournament in, I don't know, in Hong Kong or whatever, the cost is no more under control. You can't go with your caddy. You don't have the money to go with your caddy, which is not true for the player from the LPGA, but that's the real life of the LET player. And I think that's the way we convince Amundi to join us, asking them to help us, not only on the prize money, but to help us to be sure that these ladies, whatever, especially the young one, can make their job by making money. If you make no money, you have to be very rich personally. So that was the idea at the beginning.
And Franck, thank you for that. And you mentioned Amundi, and Elena, I was speaking with you earlier. This is certainly the Amundi Evian Championship, but Amundi also helps out women's golf in so many other ways on the LET and the LET Access Series. Could you talk some about your work with the German Masters and the Czech Ladies Challenge, and why Amundi decided this was the time to step up and really support the women's game?
Thank you, and happy to be with you today, as I was last year for the first edition of the Amundi Evian Championship. I think Franck, on this question, has set up the situation. In fact, we are here, and many sponsors are here to help women to get, let's say, money, or let's say, be able to live from their sport. And what it shows is that here in Evian, let's say, we have the top players in the world, so maybe it's easier for them, but it's just, we are talking about just 100 players. And our idea, and what struck me when you are going to the tournament in the LET or LETAS, is that you see that, as Franck said, they are, except maybe the winner, they are all losing money. So what can be done? You have two possibilities. The first thing is to have more tournaments for women, in Europe especially. We're talking about Europe, but it's also the case for other regions. So the idea is to have more sponsors and more tournaments. So I'm very happy that we have been able, since last year, to discuss for Germany to take back the women golf in Germany, which is a huge, let's say, country for golf with many German good players, women players. And it took place 2 weeks ago, and I think it was a huge success. And that's the way to have more tournaments in Europe, and not being able for all the European players to go to Asia, Australia, Africa, and to keep, let's say, in Europe, enough tournaments to be able to live. Second idea we had, let's say, last year, and for those of you who were here last year, we have launched the Amundi Women Talent Program, which is a way also to sponsor, let's say, young women, so not already women who are at the top, but young and, let's say, ladies who are going to improve their golf. And last year I was happy to present the European Amundi team with 5 players. And since that date, and that's the message we have given last year, we said we wanted to continue this work and this involvement in the women golf. We created the US team at the beginning of the year with 3 players. And as you have received, or gave you this morning the press release with the Asian team, which is now composed of 7 players from Asia. So that's a new team. That means, globally speaking, now Amundi has 15 players all around the globe, which we will sponsor for at least 2 years.
It's amazing. Thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate it, and I know the players do as well. Jacques, we're now here at Evian. It's a hot, sunny day, but it's beautiful overall. What are you and your team expecting and looking forward to most this week as we start to tee it off tomorrow?
Well, we expect the tournament to be fantastic, and honestly, we're now talking about the competition, which is the key issue of this week, and what all the team has been doing, and Amélie Bourdin and the team are working all year long to make sure that this week is just as amazing as possible. And on the other side, obviously, the course is at stake, and Adrien Petrocelli and his team are also working hard to make sure that we have what I've heard, which is a course in a beautiful shape, and probably one of the best shape it has ever been.
I do think it's very cool with Amélie now as the tournament director and Donna Mummert from the LPGA, and we have all-female setup crew, so it's girl power this week. We like the girl power.
Yeah,
do we
great.
have any questions for the gentlemen up here? Anything further the three of you wish to talk about while you're here? Any questions in the room? Franck, Jacques, Alain, anything you wish to add to today's?
No, I think...
No, just on the same question you just asked to Jacques, the world of tomorrow, because of the climate change and things like this, and rules, which are totally different from the US, you can trust me, it's tougher and tougher and tougher to deliver a golf course of this quality. Because in our country, more and more, you have no chemical. You can't use chemical products. For example, this week, normally, we are not allowed to put water. You are just allowed to put water on the green. So we have to work with the local, let's say, government to get an authorization to put the water, the amount of water we need. And it's a big investment because now you have to save this water. So you are not using the same amount of water on the green than on the fairway, than on the tee, and so on and so on. But behind that, there are a lot of capex investment. For example, I will give you a scoop. We are working now on a subject which is the quality of the grass on the greens. Because if that kind of weather is going to be the weather of the next 10 years, you can't have the same grass than when we were used to have an average temperature around 25. Yesterday we got somewhere 42. So if you live in Florida or whatever, the grass is not the same. Normally in the Alps, you don't expect a 42 degrees Celsius degrees as a temperature. So do we have to change the 18 greens? Perhaps no, perhaps yes. If yes, when? When are you going to close the golf course to do that? Between September and May. No further in the year, because this real grass we need will not grow during the winter. And winter here means something. Well, it can be -10, -8. So behind all this quality, we can't just say we deliver a beautiful golf course. I think rules will change. We will have to discuss with the LPGA, because we are not in the US, we are in Europe, we are in France, and the legislation is tougher than in the US. So I think everybody is going to adapt himself to the situation, because nobody in our team will discuss about the fact that we have to change our mind, that we have to respect this, save water, use less chemical, and so on and so on. And I think it's going to be a big discussion, much more than whatever the world of golf is talking about by the time being. But it's going to be a real discussion, a real choice between players, organization, and people like us driving a tournament. And Jacques and myself, we really want to be perhaps the pioneer of these discussions, because because we are afraid by nothing, as you know. We do what we want and we explain what we do, and well, negotiation is very tiny. Huh?
We do have a question here in the room from Sam.
Bonjour messieurs, et je me présente Samy Benatia pour le Dauphiné Libéré. Si vous me permettez, je vous pose la question en français et je vous demande d'y répondre en français. J'ai pas tout compris exactement ce que vous avez dit, mais j'ai vu que vous avez souligné un point important sur le changement climatique, ou avec la réglementation française qui vous empêche d'utiliser des produits chimiques, si j'ai bien suivi. Et vis-à-vis de ça, justement, est-ce que vous avez pris des décisions pour ce tournoi spécifiquement, ou au contraire, est-ce que vous êtes en train d'en discuter pour les tournois à venir par rapport à ça?
On a un principe qui est très simple, c'est qu'on respecte à la lettre la réglementation, et surtout celle qui est aussi fixée par la Fédération française de golf. On a d'ailleurs obtenu les labels donnés par la Fédération française de golf, et on n'utilise que et seulement ce qui est autorisé. Et ce n'est pas simplement l'utilisation, c'est aussi la manière dont vous l'utilisez, avec la protection des jardiniers, avec le respect des délais avant de rouvrir et de fermer, etc., etc. Et on travaille sur l'avenir pour mieux comprendre, par exemple sur l'arrosage. Si vous connaissez d'autres golfs, aujourd'hui on ne peut plus arroser un golf comme on le faisait ne serait-ce qu'à 20 ou 30 ans. Il faut investir pour pouvoir doser, mesurer l'hydrométrie de chaque green, régler les arroseurs pour économiser l'eau. Sans parler des ressources lacs qu'on a faites ici, qui nous permettent d'avoir un peu d'autonomie. Donc c'est ça qu'on est en train de travailler. On ne cherche pas à être des leaders, on cherche juste à être des gens responsables.
Et justement, par rapport à l'eau, vous en êtes où? Vous avez déjà investi dans un nouveau système, ou ça
Ah
sera
oui,
pour
oui, ça a été fait quand on a refait le golf à cause du Majorship. Donc ça fait maintenant 4-5 ans que...
Est-ce qu'on peut s'attendre à d'autres changements à l'avenir récemment?
C'est ce que je viens de dire en anglais. La qualité de l'herbe sur les greens, vous avez des régions du monde où la température est tellement forte que vous adaptez l'herbe qui résiste mieux, qui présente, bon, ok, elle sera peut-être un peu jaune en hiver, etc. Mais c'est à nous de nous adapter sur ce plan-là. Elle demande moins d'eau, elle résiste plus, il y a moins de maladies, elle demande plus de travaux mécaniques. Mais une fois que j'ai dit ça, tout ça a un coût. Et c'est là où le fait de se dire que le tournoi peut nous aider à réaliser tout ça. Mais là, je fais attention parce que tous les golfs de la région ou de France et de Navarre n'ont pas forcément les mêmes moyens. Donc il faut, comme toute transition, se donner du temps et donner du temps aux gens pour qu'ils s'adaptent. Et il faut qu'ils s'adaptent. Trop facile de dire, bah non, demain je peux pas, sauf qu'on te l'a dit il y a 10 ans. Hein. Donc c'est ça qu'on essaye de... Et si on peut partager d'ailleurs avec d'autres ce qu'on fait avec la fédération, pour justement être un peu un laboratoire pour avancer. Mais je pense aussi que les joueurs de golf doivent s'habituer, c'est-à-dire à se dire, bon, bah, si c'est moins vert quand il fait très chaud, de l'herbe, qu'elle soit jaune ou verte, hein, au niveau golfique, c'est pareil. C'est au niveau visuel que c'est différent.
Donc, si je comprends bien ce que vous dites, l'herbe, ce ne sera pas pour tout de suite, ce sera pour le futur proche,
ça peut être
lointain.
Ce que je viens d'expliquer sur les greens, c'est un futur très proche. On ne dépasse pas... L'an prochain, ça va être compliqué parce qu'il y a un programme en ce moment. Mais l'édition d'après, oui, sans doute.
D'accord. Je vous remercie en tout cas.
Merci.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. I think if we are done, I believe Jacques has a few final words.
Sure. Actually, I know it's not the use of such a press conference, but I would like to underline the fact that we had this year the greatest coverage from the media we ever had in the past, internationally and in France. And I really wanted to stress that and to thank you, because you don't realize it, but for us, and having so many accreditation this year is very important, because the media coverage and the media support we get is important for everyone and for the ecosystem of this tournament. And of course, we have our own channel of communication. We invest in communication by ourselves. But without the media, we wouldn't be who we are today, this major on continental Europe in an Anglo-Saxon world. And thank you for that, and we need you for that as well. And that's important to notice it, because thanks to that, also our sponsors get the speakerphone they need as well, and that's key.
As usual, I'm going to be much more direct than Jack, I think because of my English. But don't speak too much about equality between men and women. Help us. Stop to speak. Help us. Because without, the equation is very easy. If everybody in this room wants, we improve, we increase the prize money for ladies, whatever the sport is, could be tennis or golf or whatever, without you, we can't. Because the same people asking for equality, if I discuss with Alain, his boss will say what the return is. So the only agreement is, well, the return is equality between men and women. Except that you can play the role. You are the people who are going to help us to get the return. And that's not the only reason we need you. We need you because we love you, obviously. But it's true that without this number of accreditation, without this number of people all over the world, we will not achieve. We will not achieve the target. So we need you. So we need your support, not for us, for ladies golf. More than that, for ladies sports.
Thank you. Alain?
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yes, maybe a last word. We have a lot of journalists, so the occasion for me to, if you want to follow all what we do in Amundi, follow our new Instagram account, Amundi Golf. Instagram account, you will have all the information all the year long, so we will be happy to see you. And yes, we invite you in a few minutes, at a cocktail just outside. So we'll be happy to discuss with you and give you more information.
Beer is free.
Always.
Beer is free.
And champagne?
Champagne is always free.
Veuve Clicquot champagne, if I may.
Alain, Jacques, Franck, thank you very much. And thank you all.
Thank you, as always. Thank you all. And thank you in Zoom, our friends in Zoom, thank you also.
But no free champagne for Zoom. Can we get the champagne over the Zoom?